Hi and welcome to the first episode of our Parenting in Lockdown podcast. I'm Emily, and in this episode I'm with 6 parents who share a bit about their lockdown experience, including some of the challenges and also some of the positives. We hope you enjoy it and look out for our next 2 episodes coming soon. Okay, so just want to start by saying thank you all so much for being here this evening, giving up your evening for us. And we're just going to have a bit of discussion about your experience of lockdown, your family's experience of lockdown, the joys, the challenges, any tips for people that are finding themselves in the same positions. And you're all parents with kids at slightly different stages. So what we'll do is just go round, if you can introduce yourselves and let us know the age that your kids are at, that would be great.
I'm Kieran.
And I'm Clare.
We've got 2 children, Lily and Daniel. Lily who's 4 and Daniel who's 2. And Lily's about to go into year 1, so she's come towards the end of reception.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Tom.
We've got 3 children, all primary school age. So Anya's year 6, and then we've got Barney in year 4 and Finney in year 2.
Hello, and I'm Paul. I'm married to Olga.
Hello.
I'm a teacher. I used to teach PE. Now I mainly teach maths with a bit of PE. And we have 3 boys. We have Harrison, who's 14, Marcus, who's very nearly 13, and Pierce, who is 10.
Thank you all very much. And I guess we'll just start by asking, overall, how has your experience been of lockdown for you and your family?
The thing is, at the beginning, I think we all have this kind of gusto of, yep, we do this and we do this, and yeah, we can do this, and we've got a schedule, and you know, God is with us, and we're going to be okay. And now it's, what is it, week what?
Who knows?
12, yeah.
And we're just the fizzle. The fizzle is just.
The last week's been more fun, shall we say?
All right. Have you had? We've had crazy emotional outbursts, mainly from our 4-year-old Lily.
Oh yeah.
She would go from like 0 to 1,000 with this high-pitched scream that I actually thought my ears were going to bleed. It was even our little boy Daniel. Even this morning, she just went off, and he stood there and going, "It's too loud! It's too loud!"
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
that's been the thing, hasn't it? Just living on top of each other all day, every day, and obviously you can go out for a walk, which has been a positive because I think we've been on more walks as a family than we would have otherwise done. But that's quite nice, even with the boys being a bit older now. You know, when they're young, they just do what they're told, and we're going for a walk now, and they just trot along and get their shoes on. Now it's a bit more, really?
It's like social suicide. Why would you want to walk, like actually walk
and with your parents
in the street with your mum and dad? It's just, but then it's painful for them.
They would disagree, but then they love it once we're out. Because, you know, you have to bring a ball. So if it's not football, someone's got a tennis ball, which is being thrown across the street, backwards and forwards or whatever. So once they're out, they love it. But it is something we would not otherwise have done, probably.
Definitely something I noticed at the beginning of lockdown was seeing families with teenagers out for walks. And you don't realise how unusual you see until you're suddenly like, teenagers with their parents. It's really lovely.
Teenagers out in daylight.
Yeah, well.
But that was the hard thing. Initially was everyone being in and around all day when you couldn't really go anywhere apart from a short walk. And I think that's probably why, it's been, whatever we said, it's week 12. The last week's been, we've noticed it's got more difficult, but it's been okay in a strange way.
Yeah, well, you just get through it. You just do little chunks. You know, if you think about it, all of us here, you've got to, week 12, and if somebody had said to you, you've got to do this for 12 weeks, you would have gone crazy. But somehow it's the grace to get through each day. And then you realise, it's 4 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock, we're moving, when this day is near. Not that you want the day to end, but you think, thank God, it's another day. We've
Although it does, do you feel like time has gone quicker? Like even tonight at dinner, I said, well done, boys, you've got through another week. I know it's a day to go, but pretty much. Thursday evening is the end of the week for me. But I said, well done, you've done another week, you've done everything you've meant to have done, but it just seems to have disappeared. So that's been a strange thing for me.
It does always feel like another day, doesn't it? It's kind of there's a lot less things to look forward to, I think, is one of the things we noticed.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
You also, I don't know, like we've had times we're not actually sure what day it is. Like really, I'm not. Oh, is it? Is it Thursday, Friday? And some days, like I said, have gone super fast. And other days, you think surely it's 4 p.m. and you look at your watch and you're like, well, it's 9:05. One of those days.
Have there been any like unexpected blessings that have come out of being in lockdown?
So I think we try and remind ourselves that actually, so pre-lockdown, Lily was obviously at school 5 days a week. 3 of those 5 days she was in breakfast club and after school club. Daniel was in nursery 2 days. He was with my mum 1 day. And so like often we have spent more of the week away from the kids or not with the kids than with them. And so although it's been absolutely manic trying to fit work around them, like both of us have spent more time with the kids in the last 12 weeks than we have done like on a regular basis for Lily it's like the last 3-4 years of her life, and for Daniel definitely the last 18 months. And so we just feel quite grateful for that, don't we? Like we've seen Daniel go from not really talking much to talking loads, and Lily has just kind of shot up and just got more grown up, hasn't she? And I think I just wonder if we wouldn't have noticed those things quite as much if they were in childcare so much. I think at some point we'd pause and be like, wow, we've just realised you can do all these things. But actually it feels quite privileged to have seen those things on a daily basis and been a part of that we've got missed otherwise.
Yeah, and like, just within that, both our jobs would often, one of us would be at least away, one night a week for bedtime, for their bedtime. So obviously that extra blessing that is that you've got now, divide and conquer, you've got 1 kid each to put to bed. But it is the fact that, you get to be there for both bedtimes, which is fantastic. Where, some nights pre this, I've given them a kiss or cuddle the night, so I won't now see you till the following day, so maybe it's a Tuesday, I won't now see you till Thursday because I might be leaving early Wednesday morning and then back late Wednesday night when they're in bed. And not had that, which is just that's a real blessing.
It's weird, isn't it? The best and worst contradicts, doesn't it? Because it's a cue for my best joke during lockdown. The best thing about being in lockdown has been being stuck at home with my wife and children. But the worst thing about being in lockdown is being stuck at home with my wife and children. And it's true, because otherwise we'd have been weekends, especially. 3 boys, they all play for different football teams, so I'd be here, there, or everywhere. Olga would be dropping one or picking one up, and we don't see each other. All of us, all 5 of us, all day. And so, suddenly it's quite nice that we're doing lots more together until that moment when it's too much together.
We've had quite a nice family balance before lockdown, and I think it's made me appreciate what we did actually have with the school routines. And we actually had a day together without the children on Friday, which was lovely, and things like that. And I think it's made us appreciate what we did have, as well as it is nice to have extra time with the children that's not got the pressure of extracurricular activities, and we've had more time to do things that all 5 of us actually together at the same time, which has been more family movies, more family walks, board, things like that.
And games, just playing games, it's a luxury, isn't it? Because it takes time to learn a game, and some of the games we've been learning, it takes time, and if you used to play, you'd play once, but you can just play all day if you want to, and it's a luxury.
Our children have discovered Thomas the Tank Engine books, and that brilliant. If I have to read Cranky once more, I'm going to get cranky.
Cranky! It's only 8 books.
And Diesel.
You should know them by now then.
We're moving house at the end of the summer to a whole new town. And so there's obviously a whole load of extra pressure on our family at the moment. And one good thing has been the extra space that has been created to have questions answered about that. Because normally, what will it be like in a new house? And I'll have 2 minutes to answer it before I've got to get off to the next job or got to get into their club. Whereas now we've got a lot of time to spend time reflecting and thinking about the big questions or the things they might be mulling over.
What sort of questions they had?
Do I really have to share a bedroom? That was one. Will there still be cubs and beavers.
Yeah.
Those
When
kind
we've
of things.
got 3 toilets instead of 1, if you flush all 3 at the same time, what happens?
That's a good question.
Great question.
That's a good question.
Olga, you talked earlier a little bit about just like general well-being, mental health stuff. I wonder if anyone else, what other people's experience has been of kind of your well-being or your kids' well-being, and how you've managed that as well.
One thing we've tried to do is name the things that we're missing. So we were supposed to be away celebrating my birthday with my family and the Easter holidays. We were supposed to have a family holiday abroad in half term as well. And we've missed two birthdays during lockdown. We've had all these different things that we've been missing, and as we said, school trips and other things as well. So we're trying to encourage everyone to talk about the things that we're missing, even if they seem insignificant and unimportant, or you think other people might view them that way. Actually getting them out and saying, this is what I miss, is a really positive thing, I think, because it just helps.
I love that.
That emotion,
try that.
not having it.
And I think agreeing that as parents that we miss it too. It's not just the kids that are sad about these things, that we as parents are sad about it too.
Our children, like missing grandparents being the big one. And so we try to do, sure, like lots of other people do, trying to do video calls and that sort of stuff. But that's been the thing I think they found toughest. Obviously, at the age of sort of 2 and 4, they know they've got less independent choice about what they do. They've also missed the park. That has been, we'll scoot past the park pretty much every day, and they're like, "Can we go in today?" We're like, "No, still not." I think that's been so. Probably I'd say for me, I don't know about you, but seeing them, with the limited things that they know they really love, like people mainly and swings and slides, actually seeing them miss that stuff has been quite tough. And knowing that there's not much we can do about that. And I know for us, probably as a couple, given pretty much like everybody else, just those key moments, those landmark moments that you go through in a year. I lost my mum nearly a year ago, and to my dad, I've had very little time to be able to physically see my dad, and I know that's been really tough for me. And I think also in these, like we were talking about the other day, as part of that, because people will be grieving all sorts of things at the moment. I think we've really missed, and I've really missed, though, the sort of double whammy of these key moments of seeing Daniel start doing stuff that grandparents and that can't really enjoy, where they would usually, they'd be over and you'd have those conversations, and they'd see him do these things, and you just feel like these precious moments that obviously you won't get back, they've not been able to experience or enjoy as well or as much. And so I feel like I've really missed almost that joy of watching your close family and enjoy your children.
Yeah, I think like with our 2, I think Daniel is young enough that actually, in a really weird way, I think he has thrived in this season, because I think he's got, because their world is so small, isn't it? That yes, he's talked about like missing grandma or whatever it might be, but in reality, he actually loves the fact that we are all around him every single day, and so no concern about his well-being whatsoever.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he is coming well out of this.
I think the young,
that probably ties in age-wise, because our youngest one, we thought that early on, that he was absolutely loving being at home and having us as teenagers. And Olga used the same word, that he was thriving, and there was lots of good feedback from school.
Just getting the attention.
Absolutely.
He loves the attention. But going back to what you were saying, Emily, about how we get the downtime, I think we do make sure that on a Friday, we really we keep the weekends as weekends. So it's popcorn, it's sweets. We've got series that we watch, that we all watch, even ones that I forced myself to watch, and I've said to the middle one, I was like, Mummy doesn't really enjoy this. I said, but I want to be with you. Would you mind if Mummy watched something else on her iPad?
She prefers it when the football's on.
Right? And he goes, and the middle one actually said to me, he said, Mummy, if you're going to be with us, then can you just be with us? And they just take it as I know that when we do that, when that starts on a Friday, they start to relax, and that's their chill out, their unwind, and then I'll do a nicer breakfast on a Saturday. So I try and keep Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, the things that we would do normally, the roast dinner, we would try and go for a walk, you know, or a game. So it just feels like there's a breather. So the weekend feels like a weekend. I have to say, none of the weekends have felt like we've been in lockdown, really.
Yeah.
And that's,
Something I'm really interested to know is whether there's anything you've kind of learned in this time, or changes that you've seen in this time that you're hoping will kind of continue. I don't want to say when we get back to normal, not normal, but when we're out of this season, like, is there changes that you want to see in your family, or you think you will see in your family?
I love that we've gotten closer, and you know that, you know, as hard and all of the difficulty that brings as well. But I do feel like we've kind of, it's been really hard because we've all really needed each other, and we've bashed against each other, but we've sharpened each other as well.
We love each other more, and we annoy each other even more.
Yeah, but you know,
all at the same time.
You know, it's just been great to walk with them, and you know, and us in our faith as well. You know, collectively, that, you know, we still kept connected into church, but it's been in a way that has been our lifeline. You know, and so I just want that to continue. Not taking anything for granted, not taking our children for granted, not taking our walk with God for granted, not taking the influence, you know, that influence in our home for granted. You know, all these things that have become much, you know, they become our bread and butter every day. You know, we need God, literally, we need him every single day. It wasn't just a nice we need him here, and the boys need him here. And you know, when things get easier, you don't want to lose that. You know, how he's so integral in your home, because he has been there.
I think and I have no idea what this actually looks like in practice, but definitely one of the things that we've talked about, started the conversation a couple of times, is just what does it look like as when we have to return to work and all that sort of stuff, to try, like, we have proved in a sense that loads of our work can be flexible, like there is stuff that we can do and all that sort of stuff. And so what would that begin to look like, to say, rather than the kids having to be in childcare more days than not, really you know, 8 a.m. picking up at 6 p.m, like, how could we start conversations with our organizations or with each other around, like, what does that look like for one of us on a day when Lily would normally be in Breakfast Club, to say, actually, we're not going to put you in Breakfast Club, we will take you to the door again. And that feels small, but I think that feels really big to them. And I think it's so easy to get caught up in, like, well, we've got jobs to do, like, we have to work, so we have to do this. And in a sense, we are in that position, and that's because we've chosen to be in that position, we've put ourselves in that position. But I think this has highlighted for us that they often pay the cost of that, and I think that's highlighted that for us. And so I think we would just want to look at, how does our week become more flexible than it has been, with we both have to be in the office at 9:15, and we both, you know, have to leave at 5:30 because we have to be able to pick up the kids on time. What does that look like, to not feel tied to that structure and our kids moved around that, but to say, okay, we will do this and this and this, but actually it's non-movable, that one day a week I will pick up Lily from usual school time, but Daniel might still be in childcare and Kieran might still be at work, and so I get time just with Lily, that just gives that dedicated time. So like I say, I don't know what it actually looks like in practice, but I think that for me there's something about keeping that dedicated time for the kids, and what that really looks like.
One thing that's been good is one of our middle child often complains about being bored, and previously we got bored very, very quickly, and he still says he's bored all the time, but he actually does something about it now. Whereas before he would sort of follow you around saying he was bored, and you'd list a whole load of things he could do, but he wouldn't want to do any of them unless it was the PlayStation. That was basically was the questions. But now he's much more. He'll say he's bored, but then he'll go and play with some toys, or he'll go and play with his Playmobil. And actually, all three of them, I think, are appreciating the things that we have more. So actually, they're actually making more use of all the Lego that they always want to have, but they never use the other toys. They're actually getting use out of everything in the house because they are bored, and they're finding ways to be more creative.
Absolutely. Our middle son has started doing, you know, cooking, and he's always had an interest, but now He is, and he's making scones, and he's making dinner, and he's looking at, you know, how we chop things. And then the younger one wants to be a part of that. And I definitely think they'll be cooking more, you know, when we come out. I love that they've had to become involved in these things.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. Even like my little boy Daniel, you know, most mornings I'll put the coffee on. I want to help Daddy with coffee, and it's actually some of those small moments. That actually I want to. One, because actually we'll get to a point where he thinks do it on your own, but you know, just appreciating that, you know, like say actually just the way at the moment we don't have to rush to have breakfast, you know, on a normal, you know, pretty normal thing. You're trying to shovel food into yourself, shovel food into them, brushing their teeth, a bit more food, you know, brushing hair, all of that sort of stuff. And right now it's like that stuff obviously may have to change as timings, but actually how you get to do some of that, you know, having dinner together every night and those bits are just, it's like, right, how do we hang on to that? You know, which would be key, really.
I think a bit wider than our family at home is maybe our connections with other families or our neighbourhoods. I think I've had some of that. I think with my small group at church and with some of the school groups that I'm like in WhatsApp or Messenger chats with, I think people have been more willing to ask for help because everyone knows we're not fine at the moment. Everyone's not fine. And it's ask for help, and I hope that continues, that people are still willing to ask for help when all this is over, because no one wants to struggle on their own.
One of the things that Finley, our youngest, has particularly enjoyed is the amount of stalls that are in the area.
Lily loves a stall. She loves it.
It's an excitement about what piece of old junk is he going to come home with this time. It's so exciting to see the stalls.
What's the best thing he's come home with?
The best thing he's come home with is got a dog lunchbox, which is like a dog-shaped head
got
thing.
Mr. Slush.
Yeah, Mr. Frosty.
Wow.
The snow.
Nice.
Wow, that's what posh kids had.
We introduced a system where that was fine for them to pick up stuff, but for everything they picked up, the same amount of toys had to leave the house again. So that there like it had to equal out in the end. We couldn't just keep going with the level of it. And some of it, like Lily's favourite thing that she brought back, you know, when you've got like a helium balloon and you tie it on the bit of sand that's wrapped in just like coloured cellophane. All it was the block of sand wrapped in cellophane. And she thought it was a present, which I didn't realise till we were halfway home. So she said, "Mummy, I can't wait to open this." It's like, don't open that in my house. It's full of sand. You are not. What's inside? It's like, oh no, but it's because it was shiny and pink. She was like, "Yes, I'm so excited." Like, oh, you're going to be so disappointed.
They went out, or just the three of them went out for a walk together, which they were quite excited about. And they went on their bikes. And then halfway through, they came back and left all their bikes and went out again. And they all with a frame each.
With a wheel.
They had like giant picture frames that people had just left out.
You get that lazy sofa.
Oh yeah, they tried to move a sofa as well, but they didn't quite.
They're like, we're moving house. We need all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. We really hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it helpful. Please remember to rate it and to share it. And you can also find us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram or Twitter at Faze Hitchin to see what else we've got going on. And keep an eye out for our next episode coming soon.